Welcome to That's Good Broncos. I am Brandon Perna, football royalty in gas station bathrooms all across the country. Today I'm breaking down the matchup between the Denver Broncos and San Diego Chargers in the how many penalties can the Broncos offensive line get rematch. CJ Anderson will not play. Phillip Rivers will be animated, and somewhere in the Chargers' gallows, Dan Fouts is uncontrollably laughing at his own jokes. That's good, Broncos. Rest in peace, Vine, the app everyone quit using just as fast as they started. First question, can the Denver Broncos leave the Chargers feeling like this? Or like this? Or like this? And I pray, couldn't refrain from winning at any cost. Corey just can't stop, but I do hope the Broncos make San Diego feel like a Feldman.
I was all depressed and I was crying, and he said, think of it this way. When Kiss first started, when Eminem first started, when Nirvana first started, they all got hate.
The main difference being all of those people produced great fucking music. Your music is not cutting edge, it's just bad, Corey. But to be nice, today we're going to incorporate Corey in a positive way. Half point for the Broncos for home field advantage. Gary Kubiak versus Mike McCoy. Don't be coy with us, McCoy. Is what they say. In the last meeting, Joe DeCamillis was interim head coach on a short week with Trevor Siemian still recovering from his AC joint injury. Gary Kubiak is back at the helms deep, but will be without his bell cow, CJ Bash Andersonic, who underwent surgery to repair a torn meniscus. Kubiak will want to run the ball down Mike McCoy's throat. He's even requested that McCoy be forced to play on the defensive line so that he can literally run the ball down his throat. Kubiak is going to have to be crafty with his game plan due to CJ's injury. In the last episode, I said McCoy doesn't get enough credit as a head coach. After I said that, he went on to beat Denver and Atlanta. So to reverse that trend, I say Mike McCoy gets way too much fucking credit. I mean, he should have blown the Broncos out on Thursday Night Football, but he almost let that game slip away in the second half. His real problem is making appropriate halftime adjustments. But with 2 wins over 2 good teams, I give him the slight edge with a 0.25 advantage, and give it to him, Corey. Phillip Rivers and receivers versus Broncos secondary. More like first-dairy. Last time I called this position battle a wash. I won't do the same today, unless I do. We know the no-fly zone is coming off one of the best games we've ever seen them play. Talib and Harris played perfect football against DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, and Brock Osweiler. When they played Phillip Rivers, they only gave up 178 passing yards. 83 of those went to tight end Hunter Henry, whose coverage typically fell on the shoulders of the linebackers. Henry suffered a concussion against Atlanta, but should play in Denver. He must be shut down, and I expect Darian Stewart to be tasked with that. So in that last meeting, the Chargers receivers, Tyrell Williams, Travis Benjamin, Dontrell Inman, and hell, even Antonio Gates, was only allowed 62 passing yards by the no-fly zone. Last week against Atlanta, Tyrell Williams had 140 receiving yards. Inman and Benjamin both went over 50, so it's not like the Chargers receivers aren't any good. Here's the catch. Pun intended. Aqib Talib did not practice Wednesday or Thursday with a lower back injury. He got some work on Friday and will be a game time decision. Talib says he's fine, but I'd be cautious about any lower back injury. Talib is one half the foundation for the no-fly zone, Harris being that other half. It starts with them. If I knew Talib was 100%, this would be an easy Broncos advantage. They are just playing too well back there, but I don't know. So again, I have to call this position battle a tie. Oh, give it to him, Corey. Yes, Phillip Rivers probably will play well. He's going to talk some trash to the players, but I expect him to throw not 1, but 2. Yeah, 2 interceptions. Prediction of boldness. Chargers running backs and offensive line versus Broncos front 7. The thing about the Chargers run game is that it's not very good, even though it looks like it's good. Melvin Gordon is racking up touchdowns. He's got 8 on the season, so he's great in the red zone, but his average per rush is 3.3 yards. They also have Kenneth Farrow and Dexter McCluster, but they're literally doing next to nothing on the ground or as pass-catching running backs. The Chargers line played decent the last time they faced Denver, limiting the Broncos' front 7 to 2 sacks on the evening. In terms of pass protection, San Diego is middle of the road, allowing Rivers to only be hit 38 times this season. Denver has given up 39 QB hits. On the injury front, Brandon Marshall is dealing with hamstring issues, which is not a good thing for a linebacker. We may see more of Corey Nelson and Zaire Anderson against San Diego. I think I'm finally willing to admit that the Broncos defense really does miss Malik Jackson along with Danny Trevathan. Sure, Denver's tied for first with 22 sacks, but watching them play, there's a distinct difference in how dominant they are early in games and against the run. Jared Crick may be serviceable, but he's by no means dominating that side of the line the way Jackson did. Right now, Denver has the 22nd best run defense, which is a nice way of saying 10th worst. But the weird thing is, we see a majority of those yards get racked up in the first quarter. Last season, the Broncos had a top 5 run and pass defense. Right now, they don't even have a defensive lineman ranked in the top 25. These are big picture observations, and I still pick this unit to best San Diego with a 0.25 advantage. Give it to him, Corey.
Familia for life.
DeMarcus Ware may be back on the field, but his snap count could be limited, and until I see him play, I can't project how impactful his return will be. Special teams versus special teams. The Chargers have been struggling with their special teams units. We saw them turn the ball over on that punt after the safety, and we also witnessed the Broncos recover an onside kick against them. Their punter has shanked his fair share of kicks this year, and they've had some sort of special teams mistake in pretty much all of their games. Denver's special teams have been very good. Kayvon Webster continues to be a coverage machine. Shaq Barrett tipped a punt last week, and McManus told me this week in the locker room he wants the Big Dig Player Award. He can get it with at least 2 field goals made from 50 yards or more. Denver gets a 0.25 advantage here. Let him have it, Corey.
I'm a vampire.
Broncos running backs and O-line versus Chargers front 7. While CJ Anderson recovers from his injury, it's going to be the Devontae Booker show in Denver. Is it a good show like Westworld, or a shitty show like the new Matt LeBlanc one?
Where are the regular moms?
God damn you, Matt LeBlanc. I set myself up for that. We don't know, it's a new show. In the last meeting, Booker had 5 rushes for 46 yards, averaging 9.2 yards per carry against San Diego. 9.2 is also the average amount of penis inches for male porn stars. Fun fact, Booker could be the not-so-secret weapon for the Broncos. Bibbs will back him up, and I believe after the Broncos' O-line's performance against Houston, they can have success against San Diego. Joey Bosa has recorded 2 sacks in every game he's played, except when he faced the Broncos, where he got 0. I believe this trend can continue as Russell Okung won't be playing with the concussion and Donald Stevenson is back to full speed. Matt Paradis is currently ranked as the #1 center in the NFL, and I know this line won't get 8 penalties this weekend like they did on October 13th. Melvin Ingram is tied for 3rd best in the NFL in the defensive hurries category. As a comparison, he has 15 to Von Miller's 13. Brandon Mebane is the interior disruptive force the Broncos are currently missing, and linebacker Denzel Perryman is playing really well. And even rookie Jatavis Brown has been consistent over the last 4 weeks. Brown lost his father just a few hours before the Atlanta game last week, and I have a ton of respect for him going out there and playing every single defensive snap on that day where he must have been an emotional wreck. Hats off to Jatavis. We know CJ is out, but Matt Paradis missed practice all week and will be a game time decision. San Diego gets a 0.5 advantage here. Come on, Corey, give it to him.
Get up off the ground and take
Simeon in receivers versus Chargers secondary. Julio Jones scorched this secondary last week with 9 catches for 174 yards. Trevor Simeon only threw for $157 against Houston, but that's mostly because Denver ran it 34 times and only threw 25 passes. Simeon's numbers would have been higher had one of his big plays to DT not been called back because of a hold, and had DT not dropped a pass late in the game. Denver has to get the tight ends more involved in the passing game. Virgil Green was targeted 0 times against the Texans, and the Broncos may be trying to improve this area after trading for Patriots tight end AJ Derby. Not sure if he'll play this week, but this has to be a focus for the team moving forward. DT was targeted 10 times in the last game, made only 6 catches for 40 yards. He has to play better. Simeon will spread the ball around, but I still don't know if this unit will perform even against a poor San Diego secondary. The Chargers are giving up the 6th most passing yards and have allowed 11 receiving touchdowns. Corner Brandon Flowers will be playing this time around, and we saw Denver struggle against Casey Hayward and Craig Mager in the last meeting. We've been saying this all year. The Broncos have to run the ball to set up the passing game. Well, if they run too well, this team barely throws the fucking ball. I still don't know if they can be great in this department, and I call this matchup a tie, which is sad because with the tie, Corey can't give it to him.
Does that look familiar?
Here we go. The Broncos have a 1 to 0.75 advantage with the edge coming on special teams. Really, this game is very close and could determine the fate of either organization this season. Is that dramatic? Yes, but it's kind of true. The Broncos beat up a Texans team that isn't as good as their 4-2 record suggested heading into that last game. The Chargers are the opposite, a good team, much better than their 3-4 record. Phillip Rivers is building chemistry with his receivers, and their offense is scoring 29.4 points per game. That's second best in the NFL. Again, the game hinges on the Broncos' ability to run the ball. Was last week a fluke against a shitty Texans team, or are the Broncos getting better up front? I don't know, but I want to see the Broncos go for it. After all, they have nothing to lose.
We got nothing to lose, so baby, let's go for it.
I do believe part of the Broncos' success last week was because Houston's not very good. San Diego's going to be more productive offensively, which is going to take some of the offensive chances the Broncos had away. But Broncos eke out a victory against the Chargers 22-19, and I'd be a lot more confident if Paradis, Marshall, and Talib were definitely healthy. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Broncos. Subscribe here on YouTube. Give me a follow on Twitter. That's where we're hanging out during the game on Twitter. It's fun. Go there. For all of your Denver sports news needs, check out BSN Denver Sports. And for your Broncos blogging cravings, Mile High Report is where you should be. Report it, Mile High it. Do it, love it, live it.